Liquorland are proud partners of the Sash for another season of footy. Pop into your local Liquorland today and pick up all your favourite drinks. Hey, Mert, do you like flybys?
Do I like flybys?
Would you like a chance to win a share of 20 million flyby points?
Did you say 20 million?
To enter the draw, just spend $20 on liquor at your local Liquorland from March 1st until April 11th, 2023. In-store, on or online, scan your flybys.
Mate, this is unbelievable. Greatest day of my life.
Every $20 you spend will put you in the running to win one of 3,000 prizes. So get shopping and scanning today and land a share of 20 million flyby points with Liquorland. Liquorland, from the land you love. Please drink responsibly. Let's start the show.
Yeah, sorry, I was just at lost thinking about Paco.
And she was like, is it because of the Bombers?
It's Conspiracy Corner every day from here till December.
I don't know how many times I'm going to apologise, but BZT was good.
He moves in mysterious ways. Upper place.
It's Don's footy, baby.
Langford turns Lloydford. Setterfield becomes Setterfields. BZT, well, he's a monster, and the Dons are 2-0. You beauty. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you as always, and joining me in the studio is Ryan and Mert. Merty, it was a bloody nice day yesterday.
G'day, mate. Yes, it was indeed. Wasn't that great?
It was fucking great.
Down at Marvel. Yeah, beautiful day for it. In the end, in the nice indoor stadium that we have down there, it's good to get another win.
It definitely was. Ryan, the lush, beautiful conditions of Marvel Stadium were too hard for you to manage attendance, but it was a good game though.
Really, really good game to watch from home. Unfortunately, I may have had too much fun on Saturday night, and was under the weather. Had a few family that I was meant to meet there as well, so... Yeah, sorry to Uncle.
I saw your mum there.
Yeah, no, she was there.
I actually saw her on the
Sorry to
the
Mum
tram.
and sorry to Uncle Mark and my cousins and Dad and you lovely gentlemen.
And the club, yep, everyone else.
But geez, it was bloody good to watch from home in the comfort of my couch, and I'm like so keen to digress more about this game with you gentlemen and find out your opinions of how everything was, because
Probably won because you weren't there.
I was thinking about that. I was actually telling my
it's
manager
heaps
today
better.
maybe I should just ban myself from going to Marvel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And the G.
well, we did beat Hawthorn.
Just
So
stay at home, mate.
okay.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. Yeah, boys, great result. Gritty, maybe. I guess the first three quarters were pretty scrappy. Gold Coast put up a good fight. Gold Coast I think they had a good chance to potentially run away with it in the third.
Oh, they could have buried us.
Yeah.
But we stuck fat. We got there in the end, and I think that's credit to the side and credit to everyone involved that we held on.
Yeah, I think it's probably a testament to, I'd have to say, the coaching staff more than the fitness staff. But, yeah, I mean, we've had a horrible run with injuries, and that continues to be the case, unfortunately. But it certainly seems as though we've turned a corner as far as our fitness goes. It's not usual that Essendon sides are able to run out games like that. And I really noticed it just around the ground. Like, a lot of the Gold Coast players seem to be very fatigued, and a lot of our blokes, there was definitely a bit of fatigue, going around, but a lot of our blokes seem to be running on top of the ground really well. So, yeah, it was very positive.
Yeah, it was. Let's launch straight into the goods, because there's so many things, so many individuals who deserve a big rap, and it was hard for me to know who I was going to start with and who deserved the first mention, but I'll go with this one. I feel like for, 10 years, maybe, all Essendon fans have cried out for is a big-bodied midfielder.
Basically since Job retired.
Essentially.
Yep.
All we've asked for is a big-bodied midfielder. And trade period, we're bringing this bloke from Carlton, Will Setterfield. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting a great deal. I didn't know what to expect. I had maybe it was just a sour taste from the way the year finished, but I was a bit like, we'll see how it goes. But man, this guy's impressed me in the 2 games he's played. And I think for mine, he was probably my best on, I think, in terms of impact. Incredible game in the midfield, 28 touches, 9 tackles and a goal. Like, it's a complete performance. He played on their best midfielder, Touk Miller, laid some incredible tackles on him.
Unbelievable tackles.
I think we all went after Touk.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Share the love.
And I have to sort of ask, is this guy the missing piece in the puzzle? Because we know as individuals, Parish, Merritt and Shill can be great. As a collective, they haven't been good. But is this guy the one who can do the things that they can't and lift everyone up to a better standard?
Could potentially be, but I think he's finally, coming to what he was meant to be. He was drafted. He was expected to be this type of big-bodied midfielder, rack up the disposals, tackle. I don't think anyone ever thought he was going to be influential on the scoreboard. But in his first 2 games this year, he has. But being behind Cripps at Carlton, stunted his development and probably wasn't given enough opportunity. But what he did do is probably got to spend a lot of time with Cripper and develop his game, learning off him, and now given the opportunity with that big-bodied size midfielder that we've so desperately needed. He's flourished. I mean, I think I saw a stat when he played at GWS and Carlton, he played 57 games combined. Not once did he ever have 25 disposals and a goal. And he's got that in both round 1 and 2. So he's played his best 2 games at our football club. Really promising signs, but let's not also get ahead of ourselves.
Oh, we would never do that in this podcast.
But
not prone to that.
But he's definitely winning the Brownlow, and he's on.
Yeah,
so. It's amazing what opportunity does, though, isn't it? Like,
it's crazy.
Just on that point, I think Carlton have, they've got obviously an incredible midfield, but it is to a certain extent it's quite one-sized in that it's a lot of big blokes and then Walsh. So. When he's kind of coming up against that internal competition to even get a spot, and he really is. Look at the way he plays footy. He's an inside midfielder. He has to be an inside midfielder.
Definitely.
And I think probably the makeup of our midfield, as you say, we haven't had those big-bodied blokes, and I think the last few years it's been kind of Paco trying to run through it. Obviously not. It's never going to be an endurance athlete, Paco. So. He's got the opportunity there, Setterfield, and he's really taken it with both hands at this stage. So it's great to see. Yeah,
he's done way more than I expected or predicted him to do. Getting on the end of it to kick some goals, like it was a really nice snap that he did. Like I didn't think that was in his arsenal. I just didn't really know what I was going to get from this guy. And he was there, and as you alluded to earlier, Mert, like. Our players just pushing hard through the later stage of the game. He was still one of those guys, like in the dying parts of the game, was just charging around the ground. So
throwing his body around. And I know we touched on it a little bit, the tackles, but every time he lays a tackle, he gives it 110%. He's putting all his weight into it. It's great to see.
Yeah, and I just wonder if part of that, like if there's anything to do with him coming to the club and kind of lifting, and I'm sure it's also Brad Scott, but lifting the defensive side of the midfield around him, because Parish had 6 tackles on the weekend and 30 whatever touches. I've never heard of Darcy Parish ever getting 6 tackles. Like they're big tackle numbers. Shields done it last year for large periods, but if we can get that real two-way, and I don't expect Merritt to do it, not everyone has to do it, but if we can get a number of our blokes in the midfield really hurting players with tackles, and then you got a Phillips and a Draper also doing it in the ruck, then that creates a real, defensive, offensive weapon within that midfield unit.
Yeah, and it was one of the things I said in our preseason show. It was like, the one thing I want this year is us to not be giving up easy ball and easy scores. And if it's starting there in the engine room, that's, it sets the tone. There was a patch there in that third quarter where, Gold Coast got on top and they were starting to win a lot of centre clearances, but some of them were easy, but not all of them were. Like, it wasn't like I was sitting there being like, oh, they're just walking it out of there. Like, they were just, playing well.
That's when we were conceding all of our clearances because we knew we had BZT behind the ball.
Yes, exactly.
Getting it to the important man who sets up everything.
Yeah.
As soon as he went off, then we started winning clearances again.
Yeah, exactly.
Last quarter. It's the only time for the game that we won clearances.
Yeah, we're like, all right, better kick forward. Brandon's not there. Let's get it forward.
Brad Scott is a genius.
But credit to the midfielders. I mean, Gold Coast have a really nice core midfield group in there, and the fact that we were losing momentum and to bring it back shows a real sign of maturity in this list.
I reckon a
that
lot.
I don't think we had in us. So I was concerned.
Yeah, I reckon a lot of it had to do with not only, you know, kind of the inside mids, but also the role of Draper and Phillips, especially in that last quarter as Witts, you know, started to fatigue.
Yeah.
Because he's just a monster and he's so
great.
good the whole game.
Phillips was really good.
But
Phillips
when
was
we,
really good.
in the last quarter, when we, you know, played both of those guys and really started to get, you know, Phillips into an offensive position, attacking position, and same with Draper, and they were just, you know, kind of switching in between going forward and playing in the ruck on him. That's the only time for the whole game that he battled. And I mean, Phillips, watching him in the ruck, he was actually beating him quite consistently throughout the game, whereas Drapes was, I think, really battling. So, yeah, Phillips just had a monster game for me.
Yeah, no, he was fantastic. He was fantastic. Gee, so many more goods. Ryan, do you want to take one?
Let me have a look. Oh, we already, BZT,
Yeah, awesome.
really fucking good.
Awesome.
I've said it before.
Awesome.
I'll say it again.
Only his 30th game, and I'm sure we had the discussion. I'm sure we did, whether it was on air or off air. But, you know, key position players, particularly defenders, in those early years can look miles from it. Cale Hooker did when he first started, and then he became what he became.
Yep.
I feel like BZT is at this age now where he's been in the system long enough. He's got the body. He's played enough footy, whether it be VFL or AFL level, that he's just feels comfortable. And like I went, they ran it like his little highlight package, and I was just like, I couldn't believe how many times he was just fist in there,
Yeah.
like getting the mark, whatever it was.
Even the time where he laid a little fake handball and ran off and
Oh.
through the corridor handball, and it got us going. But now that he's got the opportunity to play football, there's not too many other key position defenders knocking on the door at the moment, with Reid severely underdone and Lewis Hayes, you know, probably not filling into his body yet. But
Let's just see how cooked his ankle is.
yeah,
Touch wood.
I think what Brad Scott said it was pretty minor in his
Yep.
press conference, but you know, he's not going to risk him if he's not, you know, 95 to 100% healthy. But the way he's been playing,
He's leading the Brown, though.
coming off the back end,
He's definitely leading the Brown.
coming off the back end of his form to end last season and to
Yeah.
start off with these two games, his name's getting out there. He's popping up on media as well. So
Getting in the coaches' votes.
Old
again,
Berserk.
yeah,
Did he?
back to back?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did.
He did.
Bang.
He did. He got two. So
But
come on.
really liking the development from him.
The weird coaches' votes, though, weren't they?
they were. Yeah, it's always
Like you got your sevens as the highest. You know, there's not a lot of agreement between the coaches.
yeah. It's usually when like I don't know. I feel like it's often the losing coach might be a little bit sour.
Yeah,
You know.
I don't know. I reckon
Although
with this, I reckon it was the other way around. I reckon like the losing coach gave votes to like the merits and those and like
Merits,
maybe a parish kind of
yeah.
accumulators, and the winning coach gave it to your
BZT,
Redmond,
Redmond.
Setterfield, BZT.
and
That's
Langford.
without looking at it. I'm sure there's massive
And
crossover.
I think
there.
Langford's
I'll-
the top one.
No, I'll read it. There was a bit of when I was prepping the show, there was a bit of chat online about it. So yeah, Langford 7, Parish 5, Redmond 5, Merritt 4, Setterfield 4, Rowell 3, Zerk Thatcher 2, which is it's a bit all over the place. Like obviously the 2 5s are different, the 4s were different as well, and then it's just how do those 3 2 1s blend together.
But I think that's potentially like a positive thing to look out of it. We didn't have one standout. It was a really solid
Yeah.
team effort, and I think that's what we need for
I
to
thought-
win games.
I thought Shear was awesome as well.
Shear was really
Shear
good.
was so good. Like,
The first quarter was great, but his whole game was really good.
yeah, and like actually used the ball really well.
He did.
Did a kick in the last where it's coming out of I think centre half back or the back flank, and he hit up Harry Jones with about good 50-metre kick across to the wing. And Jones just got to it in the end, but we really had no options, and it was just the perfect kick.
Yeah.
And we know how explosive he is. He's racked up I think another 4 or 5 tackles or something like that. He's looking incredibly fit. We know that. And I think he was one of mine from the preseason who I was really hoping could just get a good, consistent run at it this year because he's never had it. And I think that could be the real point of difference for him this year.
Yeah, had 27, 7 clearances. One of those was in the centre. Obviously, 2 goals as well.
Yeah.
One of my
Massive numbers.
One of my biggest highlights for Dylan Shield was that play. It was on the wing side that we were on,
Yeah.
where him and Matt Rowell running for the ball. And Matt Rowell,
He's a robot.
Oh, that was from the clearance?
He's the Terminator. That guy is actually the Terminator.
He's
like
insane.
he does not stop running. He looks like Buzz Lightyear, and like he's so big. And
He's so big and
him the ball was there, and him and Shield went shoulder to shoulder in a totally fair bump, and Shield put him on the ground. And I was like, oh my god, has Shield like broken his arm doing that? But no, he just carried on.
He should just be a bodybuilder.
You reckon?
Yeah,
He's close.
he looks way too good to be a footballer.
Matt Rowell or Shield?
Shield.
Oh, Shield. Maybe Matt could as well. He needed a bit of fake tan. I reckon.
fair bit.
Bit of take tan. Let's talk about Mr. Kyle Langford. 5 snags.
Great game.
1 week half back. Great game. Next week full forward. Also a great game.
Better not be.
Throws up some interesting discussions.
He said post-game in the interview that he hasn't done one session with the forward line all pre-season. So
I just can't.
to be able to show that, you know, with limited time, he's been able to prepare, excel in the position, but it also makes me question he's probably going to end up back in the back line. Even next week, I'm saying.
Yeah, look, I think if
I just don't see his use in the back line.
the use is he's a good kick. That's the thing, is he's a really good kick. Obviously, Massimo is also a really good kick, but I think he
Great kick.
can do he can do more than what Massimo can do.
I don't think he can in the back line. I don't think. The reason why he's so good in the forward line is he's so versatile and he runs up the ground, obviously, and then, you know, can get deep, and he's so dangerous because he's impossible to match up on, as we saw, and he's a great shot at goal. And, you know, he can be quite mercurial around goals, as we saw yesterday. It's just not really the same, you know, it's not the same prospect with other players that we have that are that, you know, 6'3", 6'4", you know, guy who moves really well up the ground and can execute up forward and, you know, plays tall as well. I just feel like if we have him sitting back on, you know, the half-back flank, we take away a massive avenue to goal for us.
I agree.
Like one of our best goal kickers and one of our most reliable goal kickers and confident goal kickers as well. So I just can't fathom why we're trying to do this.
Yeah, look, like I would prefer to keep him in the forward line, but the justification from being there is because he's a good kick.
I also think it would be due to the fact that we just lack height.
Yeah.
In the defensive.
Yeah, I
50.
just don't think it makes up for that height though.
With Paco potentially coming back, you know, speaking of Paul later, Voss could be a chance of coming in.
And I assume, like, we didn't hurt his toe, so I assume he's only out for a week. Like, surely it can't be too
He
much
almost
longer.
played, so he'll definitely play against.
So
that leads to the question of who goes out for Langford if Langford's being pushed back, and if it's Massimo, then I'm pretty bloody cut.
Well, it could be BZT.
If he's injured, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're
but
ridiculously short.
No, but then
it can't be BZT.
If
it's got to be Kane Baldwin in for BZT if he's out.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
I'll
Otherwise, we're going in with no key defender.
Let's save it for Paul.
Yeah, look. Well, there's a discussion about a particular player that I want to park because someone brings it up in hot takes, and let's discuss about that guy. Then you might know who I'm alluding to, but that does fit into this whole forward discussion. Someone else I think deserves a shout out, and someone who can be a whipping boy on this show and amongst supporters. But I thought
we don't have whipping boys on this show.
No, not at all.
Only support players.
Only support players. One of I don't know if it's his best game, probably not his best ever game, but I think one of his best games in recent memory. Andy McGrath playing back in his natural position, half back, running and carrying the footy. That is what I want to see him doing, running straight lines towards goal with the ball in hand, taking meters. That's where he's at his best. And
look what happens when you play a player in a natural position.
Oh, it's crazy.
He scared me at the start. I think his first 2 kicks, I was
first kick straight out on the full.
Yeah.
Just
there were like three players, but really good game.
Last week he went at 66% by foot against the Hawks in what I would say was a less pressure game. Mm-hmm. He rose that by 10% and went by 77%.
Nice.
If I'm rounding it up. And he still had 25 touches? 20 touches?
Really good.
25, yeah.
Tons.
So 13 kicks, like
He was real good.
he's playing where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's good. We're playing inside mids at inside mid. We're playing halfbacks at halfbacks. Now we just have to figure out where Kyle plays, and then, hey, we might be good.
Yeah, I mean, we've only ruined, 8 years? But, it's good to see. It's good to see him taking the game on like that because we definitely need it back there. And, yeah, as we know, you see little dog rats like Sardi running around, and it's pretty few and far between that you can actually get a quality running half back. So, and he's definitely that when he's playing good footy. And yeah, I think he's a massive confidence player too. So onwards and upwards from here.
Yep.
And I think him, flourishing in that position, it's allowing other people to play in their natural position, like Jai Caldwell.
Yep.
Look, Jai had 15 disposals. 10 contested, probably the 10 best contested possessions I've ever bloody seen.
His hands below his knees are just not of this earth.
The hands below, it's not even hands below his knees, it's just hands at toes.
Just so clean.
He was so influential for us. Like coming off the half back, he broke a couple tackles, handballed on. That's when then Davey grabbed it and kicked it over to body. Draper. Draper gave the fend off and then off to Nick Martin for a goal. That was all Jai. There was another time that we scored through, another contested clearance from Jai. So
I think that the last quarter and a half, the number of times I saw Jai just like either body in the contest, just just first effort, second effort, third effort, just hitting bodies again and again, and just how clean he is with his hands. Like there was that on the forward flank in the last quarter, just handball came out like right. It was actually a kick right to his toes, and just cleanest pickup ever. And I mean, he ended up skying, turning around, immediately skying the kick around his body, but got it forward, went out of bounds. The alternative was that, he completely missed it, had heaps of Suns players around. If he didn't take that ball so cleanly, don't know what would have happened.
Could have conceded.
He was just massive. And he, that Guelphy goal as well. I think the first Guelphy goal and the last, it was just all Caldwell.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he definitely started the chain. Like, not spending much time in the centre, just the one centre bounce attendance for him. But I think he's playing really well in that role where he starts as a high half forward, and then if we need to bring him up to a stoppage as an extra man, or he's just there in the chain, like he does it because these are the kind of who knows where he goes long term in the future, but like these guys are so important for a good team that you just, like you said, you have 10 contested possessions, but my God, they're important.
They were so good.
Like if any person just opened the app and went, oh, he had 15, whatever, you can't underrate what those stats were.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that he had 15, as you know, Rob.
Yeah.
After the game.
Yeah.
He was so pivotal at really important points.
Yeah. Someone who had a fair bit more footy, and I think actually, two guys actually. We'll stay with midfielders, but I think Darcy Parish deserves a shout out because just another solid game.
Really good.
Yeah,
really good. I've liked the way he started the season. We're probably just too used to it, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get used to a good thing and you're like, oh, well, you expect it of him. But he was great, and I'm hoping for him that he's playing in this, he sees something in this midfield. He sees what's going on. He sees what Setterfield's bringing for him. He sees what McGrath being at back at half back's doing for the side, and a bit of belief goes a long way to making that big decision and
hopefully seeing Geelong 0-2.
Yeah, seeing Geelong 0-2. Just seeing the Plains, like he just he's sign, mate. Just sign it. Do it. Sign the contract.
Yeah,
sign it, Darcy.
Still got Hobbsy though.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Hobbsy a bit later. Last shout out, I wanted to flag it when we were talking about halfbacks, but G. Mason Redman's a good player.
So good.
One thing I didn't realise, and maybe it was just because of the seats of where I was sitting, I didn't really notice it in round one, but Mason Redman's closing speed, when we need a third man in a contest or there's, that loose player, in our halfback, their half forward, my God, Redman makes them work for it. Runs off his man countless times, and I felt like 8 out of 10 times he was influencing it or, winning the ball just about.
Yeah, he's an absolute master at running off his man. He's just got that down to a T. He's so good at it.
Another thing he's mastered is intercept marking, but using his ability, his body against his defender. against his forward to create space to mark it. He reads the ball in the air so well.
Yeah, and he
times it perfectly.
He doesn't seem to use his hands. Like, he doesn't put his hands in the back. He just bodies them really well.
Yep.
And then kind of late, often takes the overhead mark. But I reckon his work rate is just unbelievable. And, like, we know how good of a kick he is, but, God, he's almost got, I obviously don't want to be too over the top here, but he does have a really complete game in that he's tough as nails on the inside and just, almost always wins that contested ball for us.
Yeah.
But his outside game is so good.
Yeah.
And he also kicks goals.
Kicks goals, and he's so good overhead. Like,
I reckon he's one of our best players. If not,
I think he's probably our best player at the moment.
He was so good yesterday.
Yeah. Well, Mert said to me yesterday, just at the start of the game, like Redmond did something, took a mark, and Mert was like, his goal is All-Australian this year. Like, he's flirted with it, but now he's at that point in his career where he needs to be putting himself from being a good Essendon player to a good AFL player.
Definitely be a reality.
That, our listeners, your friends who go for other teams will start being like, gee, that Mason Redmond's good. And be a thought for an opposition coach that, gee, I have to, how can I negate this guy's effect? I
wonder if teams have started doing that.
Well, like we saw it yesterday where they can't...
The hand pass from Draper.
Yeah, Draper. And I'd said it about 30 seconds before it happened. Was it in the first?
Yeah, I think it
was in the first, yeah.
It was when we kicked those early points. Yeah.
Draper took the mark on about 45 and I was just like, where's Red Dog? Where's Red Dog? And then literally, like it would have been 20 or 30 seconds later, you just see Redmond like start to run from half back when Draper takes the mark. And then his player like picks up on it when he's kind of 10 metres behind him and then starts chasing him down. But, he gets the shot on goal anyway. And they just they don't seem to be on it still. Maybe that's a team defence kind of zoning kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a bit, you're relying on everyone to pick up on it in the, spur of the moment. But, I can't remember a halfback flanker kicking so many goals so frequently from outside 50.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
It's been a while. It's definitely been a while.
Before we wrap up the first...
Yeah, I was going to say, I wanted to give another person a shout out, but you go.
Just, complete the team, the forward line, being so short and playing at Etihad where the conditions are really well suited for key position players, I think we did a really unbelievable job.
Yeah.
To score 100 points again with, who was it, Jones and Langford, and then everyone else around them. Like, they're hardly key position.
Yeah.
Like big, strong-bodied forwards.
Davies is centre-half forward.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah, geez, we kicked it to him a fair bit like
He's
that.
got jukes, though.
He's got absolutely
very sticky.
Yeah.
But I think that was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
So I liking what I'm seeing from our team so far.
Yeah. Menzie, another 2 goals for him. Bob's up.
Yeah, he was good.
Jeez, mate, when he missed those first 2, I was like, jeez, has he lost confidence? And then, let's go.
Just got him back. I
thought Guelph was really good in a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
2 goals. You can't ask for much more.
And he got that 50-metre penalty for getting belted in the head, so that was handy.
Which we love. You mentioned him really briefly, but I feel like Andrew Phillips deserves a little bit more of a discussion.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Really, really good. Great with his hands.
Except for that, like the easiest mark.
That was hilarious. But no, he even got that goal.
Yeah.
Jeez, he's got big pipes.
He's got massive pipes.
He's our fittest player. Seeing how he was running, in that last quarter, he just goes.
He played well.
He does. Yeah, like obviously, like we all love Drapes, and Drapes has the highlight reel, but I mean, you can't ask much more from a second ruckman. And it's funny, like now looking ahead to some of our future games coming up, and I'm like, all right, Flip and Draper, going up against Rowan Marshall.
Yep.
I like the look of it.
Definitely.
Going up against the D's, Brodie Grundy. Man, I'm actually so pumped for Gather Round now. As if Flip can stay fit to go up against Grundy, I'm so pumped for that. That's going to be great.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Do you guys want to do some hot takes?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've missed this.
Oh, actually, sorry. Do we want to do the bads real quick? Or just a discussion?
What's the bads?
Well, the discussion's about Dyson Heppell. He didn't have a great game and he got subs.
Look, it's a tough one to talk about. You got so much love for a guy, but
next.
He just wasn't playing well.
He wasn't.
He was a liability on the ground, and credit to Brad Scott. It would have been a really tough call to do that, but he made the right decision, and it got us back in the game. So
team comes first.
Yeah, the thing that frustrated me was there was a few times, and like it happened in front of us, where it's tight play, quick hands, that sort of stuff, and he kept going for those like not take possession, just try and tap it to someone, which when you pull it off looks great. And we're all like, oh, wow, that's so good. But he kept trying to do it and just wouldn't take possession. And he missed a couple of them in a row. And I'm like, just take grab it, take the hit and then try and get it out.
I feel like he's just so down on confidence at the moment. And like you saw that one right in front of us, Rob, where he's running along the wing and tries to draw the Gold Coast player, which should just be so simple. Like it's real kind of under 16 stuff. And then goes to give the hands over and gets caught in between drawing him and just, giving an early handball off and misses Dylan Shield by about a metre and just straight out of bounds. I was like...
And then there was the one after that where he was in the centre of the ground. We were just bursting off a turnover.
Centre forward.
Yep. And then he gets it. He had 3 players all in a line off to the right-hand side and he didn't give it off and then just chucked it on the left and booted it in and a Gold Coast defender marked it. And it's just like, you got to score off turnovers. That is crucial in football.
Yeah, I think on the plus side, he had this very similar situation 2 years ago where it started off really slow and, he turned it all around and he was one of our best for that year. On the downside, he had that same thing last year and he didn't really improve. So you hope that his body's going to be good enough to actually get him through the season and kind of get him back into good form. But at the same time, I hope that Scott isn't going to just gift him a game because he's been, a great contributor and a great leader for the club.
Well, let me pose this question to both of you. Are you keeping him in the team for St Kilda or are you dropping him?
Definitely drop.
I would admit him personally. Yeah,
same.
It's a hard call because, look, I think we all expect this to be his last year, and you don't want to see a guy who's been a captain of the club, done so much of the club through dark periods, to go out in a way that he's not making the team. You'd like him to be there, whether it's round 23 is our last game, or we somehow made it. You'd like him to be in that team and be a contributor, and then go, see you guys, I'm out, and not be saying goodbye in the VFL because it's a sad way to go for any footballer.
I mean, I think there's a difference between that and just gifting a guy games for the sake of it. And
of course,
part of me says that he should have just made the call last year.
Yeah.
And that's being devil's advocate, but there was a lot of word about him retiring last year.
It just shows, thank God that Mert is captain, or that Dyson didn't go again, because it would have made a lot more headlines if we did have to drop him as captain.
Yeah. He definitely looked shocked when he got the announcement. But in that first half of the game, maybe even in that first quarter, there was Jesse's made a point to me. He goes, I feel like the most common noise you've heard in the stadium is a groan. Because it was like start of the game, we were missing points and missing goals.
Yeah.
But man, there were some really loud groans with Dyson at the footy, and I really felt bad. I really felt for him, and you could hear it. You could hear it. It was hard. So, look, let's hope he can turn around. Let's hope he can, work his way back into some good footy, and we're not stuck in a situation like we've discussed. So, let's get to hot takes though.
Let's do it.
Sorry to the 5 or 6 people who just sent them, shitting on Heps, but noted. We hear that was the discussion, and we're not going to play them.
Grow up.
I'll check with Derek. We're good to go. Good to go for hot takes. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. All right, let's do it. Our first one is from, if I can find it, is from lid equals off. So let's start with that.
That's a good start.
Today's gonna be the day when we're gonna go 2-0. By now, should have somehow figured out that that's how it's gonna go. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about the Dons.
I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Backbeat, the word is on the street that the lid's absolutely off. By now, you should have figured out that we're gonna go 3-0. I don't know the words for the rest of the song, but I'm just gonna say now that I'm hard for the Dons. I'm hard.
Can we please get lid off to send through a full version so I can listen to that
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
after we beat St Kilda next week?
That's the most constipated singing voice I've ever heard.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, lid equals off. That was
that was great.
beautiful way to bring back hot takes. Let's keep
I hope
going.
that was first take and not like, the 18th take or something like that.
He hadn't seen anyone's through. I'm not sure if he sent them and then deleted them, but who knows? It was pretty good. Next one is from Jai. Thank you, Jai.
Oh, I'm so glad Owen isn't around this year, boys. Only me mate 2-0. 2-0, baby. Let's go.
Short and sweet. I like that from Jai.
Love it.
I like that from Jai. Not going to read that next name out, but we'll keep going to the next one. Ziggy.
Read it.
It's just it's insert player name, body part. I'll let you guess what it is. Next one's from Ziggy. Thank you, Ziggy.
Boys, what a win. I've been participating in all manner of circle jerks on the socials today, and I'm almost spent with my last morsel of energy. I just need to gripe about Harry Jones. Now's the man's time to shine, and he's letting the opportunity pass him by. He's left the job to Langers today. If he's not careful, Paddy Voss will boot the door in, cast him aside, and take his job very shortly. Anyway, onto the blockbuster against the Saints next week. 2nd v 3rd. Go Dons.
Thank you, Ziggy. So this is the discussion that I wanted to bring up. It was about Mr. Jones himself. Played a role yesterday. Obviously didn't stick too many big marks. Obviously didn't kick many goals or anything like that. He's there because he's fit. Obviously there's no Peter. Obviously there's no Wiedemann. Kyle Langford kicks 5 goals yesterday. If Wiedemann comes back in the team, would you play Kyle over Harry Jones?
Yep. I think so.
Would you play Kyle Langford over Harry Jones, assuming Wiedemann or Peter is back in the team?
Well, I think Wiedemann and Harry Jones are a straight swap,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I do feel bad for Jones, but he just looks so weak in every single contest, which means with Wright and Wiedemann out, he got the number 1 defender.
Of course.
So he was probably out.
Collins gave him an absolute
But
bath.
he was outbodied in every single contest. And Collins didn't even look like he was putting much into it. So
Yeah, I mean,
but I think
he's also got to keep his feet. Like, he doesn't help himself at all.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone fall over so much from not even a contest, just trips over and then kind of looks around at the umpire. It's like, mate, you fell over your own feet.
Yeah, it did seem like he was trying to milk a couple at times, which you don't want to see, particularly in a game where the umpires are clearly not giving them.
But as Ziggy said, Pat Voss is knocking on the door. We've never really had many forwards in the VFL coming up. Probably since Josh Jenkins. I don't know.
James Stewart, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if
I don't know if it's a good
like this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a good time
He's
to
a kid.
Drop Jones.
I don't think they're playing in the same position for the record. I think it's more if Langford is going to go to half back, I think Voss is going to go there. Yeah. I think Voss, Paco, Langford are probably vying for that one, I reckon, forward position. And that's not to say that they can't, all play on the same side. I just think that that's probably the one spot in the forward line, given that we've got Archie also playing up there.
Yeah.
On a flank as kind of a third tall, I guess.
Yeah.
How good would it be to see Voss bury someone on Saturday night, though?
Yeah.
Nah, Anzac Day, he just takes out Maynard. That's what I want.
I kind of like Maynard.
Yeah, me too. But he's their tough guy, and I want Voss to come and clean him up.
Yeah, I'd rather he just buries the
Dacos brothers.
Dacos
Both
brothers.
of them. And
Ginnivan.
And Ginnivan at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. Paulo Shens.
Paolo.
Thank you, Paolo.
G'day, lads. We got Shiloh back to his absolute best. BZT playing Fletcher-esque and Langford taking the absolute P1 double 5. I'm not sure that officiating can get any worse, but 2-0 and 35 goals in 2 weeks. Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
And my God, that umpiring decision. Should ask Gemma. Absolutely lost it at home.
It was yeah.
I punched the air a couple times.
Yeah. So it's one of those annoying ones where the guy's just completely dropped it, but as he's fallen over, it's just happened to hit his foot, and that's enough. And that's enough for him to call a kick.
I'm kind of with the umpire on this one now.
I'm so off you.
I reckon he got it right.
Yeah, maybe he did.
I'm off you.
No, he did.
He might have accidentally done it. But
Yeah.
you got to boot to it.
Next one's
He's
from...
still a slimy dog rat. It's that umpire with like the fake facial hair. It looks like he's got facial hair implants, and he's so bad.
Can't say I know who it is. Next one's from Braden.
I thought you were talking about yourself, mate.
Oh, thank you, Braden.
Rob,
Oh, that's me.
as a South Australian, I don't get to get over to Melbourne very often and see the Mighty Bombers live in person from the Marvel. However, one thing that I sort of did notice at the ground is that because the big Wiedemann was out, we had no big marks and goals inside 50. Most of our goals came from the little fellas. And I love when fucking little Davey and Menzie and all that kick goals, but that's not going to win us the grand final, is it? What do you reckon? Who, now that Peter Wright's out for at least half a season, if Wiedemann does go down for some reason, who fucking takes our big forward role? Big Harry Jones is playing up the ground, and he was fucking good. But he didn't do much, in the forward line. So who fucking picks up that slack, Fucking...
What do you reckon, Mert?
That was so good. That reminds me of a scene from Zack and Mary Make a Porno. The guy walks in the coffee shop. He's like, fucking football.
Yeah.
That is absolutely fucked me.
Braden,
That was...
how many do you reckon Braden had before he said that in?
I'm jealous.
Just the pause for effect.
The pause for effect.
The pause cos full was just fucking incredible.
It was almost Kingo-esque.
It was. It was like Kingo and Marker.
That's
Absolutely dummy.
But yeah, I guess we spoke about Voss.
Yeah.
I guess Voss is our only really backup. We've got Kano Baldwin there, who's obviously
defence
playing
now,
defence.
yeah.
But if we need to bring him back in, but let's not think about injuries.
No,
We
don't like him.
Yeah.
Next one's from Darby. Thank you, Darby.
Redmond, hot. Merritt, hot. Setterfield, hot. Fucking who else is there? BZT, hot until he bugged his ankle or his Achilles, which is pretty gutting. But anyway, what else we got? Fucking bloody. Oh, of course, Langers, hot.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. When we were doing that bloody WAS and chant at the end of the game, I was rock hard.
Love it. That was good, that West Anderson chant at the end.
There's a lot of phallic references in this show. from the
Yeah,
supporters. It's
yeah.
really concerning.
Yeah, there
love
are.
it.
Yeah, there are.
Just going through our team list though, like they're probably not the first guys you'd say are hot.
There's definitely other ones.
I'm not sure Mason Redmond's the first one.
Oh, he's up there.
Hot.
I'd say Guelph.
Hot.
Archie.
Hot.
Archie's just
Your boy.
Dylan.
Next one's from Enver.
Kyle's hot.
Who?
Kyle.
Is hot. Next one's from Enver Wilkinson, who may on now. If you guys remember from last year, the famous wear shit bloke.
No.
That one person's name was Enver Biss, and I don't know if this is the same person or it's just someone else.
Maybe we might be able to tell.
You tell me.
2023 Anzac Day, 30 seconds to go. Essendon down by 5 points. Davies streaming in from 50. He's kicked it. It's going. Oh, it's going to fall short. Oh, Patrick Voss has taken a mark. He's going to kick his 14th and win Anzac Day for Essendon. They are undefeated in 2023. Go the fucking Plains. And go footy.
Go footy.
Could be him.
It could be him. It could be him.
I can't even remember it.
It might also be Herbertron. I'm not quite sure. I have a sneaking suspicion that's who that was.
That's seriously enough.
It's good. I love it.
We love Herb.
Territory.
I love that. 3 to go. Sean. Thank you, Sean.
Sean here. Woke up Monday morning, excited to go into work and rub it in about how good the Bombers were on Sunday Arvo. Then I remembered the Suns don't have any fucking fans. Up the Plains.
It's true.
Not a lot of people to give stick to, are there?
I know.
Trig.
Who, does anyone
Saw him.
So you have a friend who goes to the Suns?
Yeah, the bloke who at the Adelaide Oval test sculled all the beers.
With the long hair and then threw his glasses down.
Vaguely, yeah.
Sculled like the 5 beers and then everyone jump around him.
Yeah. And
he's a Sun supporter.
Why?
Just because he's a weapon, I think. Yeah.
Did he go for a team pre-Suns, or you just decided that was
Probably North.
Probably North. Probably North. Yeah, that would make sense. 2 to go. Dex, thank you, Dex.
Don's footy boys. I left a voice message last week, an unreleased voice message last week about Cole Langford and how scrumptious he was down back. But
What a
fuck
word.
me. He is the real package, the slim package. 5 snags. We love it. Anyway, I say this every time. Can't wait for the wheels to fall off, but it feels good, boys, and we'll take it. Cheers.
Thank you, Dex.
Scrumptious.
Yeah, we will.
I forgot to give a language warning at the start of this segment, but oh well.
Oh, fuck it.
You should know by now, everyone. You should know by now.
Stop listening, kids.
Yeah. Children, bedtime. Last one. Dylan. Thank you, Dylan.
Hey, boys. You know how recovering alcoholics have someone that they can contact when they feel like they're going to relapse again? Well, fuck me. I think I'm going to relapse and pull the lid off this fucking thing again. These fucking pricks get me every year. They rope me in and they make me think we're good. But it's fucking screw it. We're good again, baby. Pull the lid off this thing. Calm the fucking planes.
Yeah. When I first listened to Dylan, I'm like, do I need to put an extra one in? And then he brought it home with that, and I was like, oh, that's definitely getting in.
Yeah,
that's definitely getting in.
That was great.
Yeah, Dylan maybe should do our sound effects in future.
Jeez, we do. They do pull us back in, don't they?
They do pull us back in. I try to get out, and they pull me back in. Quickly before we go to break, Mert, how good were those seats we had on Saturday or Sunday? How good were those seats?
It's like sitting in IMAX with like really, 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 really comfy seats.
Yeah.
And like chicks and stuff. Heaps better than IMAX.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how good they are.
They are, thanks to our good friends at Ticket Blaster who resell the Medallion Club at seats. And of course, Marvel. They also sell them at the G. So if you want them for this weekend against the Saints, you can get them. They're in the Shane Warne stand, level 2,
the best stand in the world,
prime seating. But we had a fantastic day out thanks to them. We had a lunch, didn't we, Mert? We enjoyed some. I had the chicken. You had a steak.
Yeah.
I think Joel and Jesse also had a steak. Ryan didn't come.
Yeah, Mert actually sent me a photo of his steak just to rub it in.
Yeah,
best steak I've had this year.
I'm actually taking your ticket off your Sash payments as well, by the way, because I had to fork out for that and you didn't show up. So just letting you know.
I didn't even realize.
You dog rat.
I didn't even realize we get paid.
Yeah. Love that.
We don't.
Yeah. Let's go to a break. We'll come back. Paul Cousins and, if we've got time, maybe some 20 questions. This halftime break is brought to you by Liquorland. Pop into your local Liquorland today and pick up all your favourite drinks. Hey, Ryan, flybys.
Flybys?
Flybys.
Flybys.
Would you like a chance to win a share of 20 million Flybys points?
Flybys?
Flybys. To enter the draw, just spend $20 on liquor at your local Liquorland from March 1st until April 11th, 2023, in-store or online, and scan your Flybys.
Hold on a second. Are you talking about Flybys?
I'm talking about Flybys.
Flybys.
Flybys. Every $20 you spend will put you in the running to win one of 3,000 prizes. So get shopping and scanning today and land a share of 20 million Flybys points with Liquorland. Liquorland, from the land you love. Please drink responsibly. Welcome back, everybody. It is that time again on a Monday for the VFL wrap with our great friend Paul Cousins. A dominant display at the hangar on the weekend, Paul.
It was, guys. Yeah, it was a good Sunday, really.
Yep.
We overlapped with the AFL, so I managed to get in the car and listen to the AFL boys have a win after we had a really good win in the end over GWS. So I think it was about 80 points in the end, which is a pretty handy way to start the season.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Paul, he's probably the most popular player on this show, and we have to lead with the question.
That's Paco's pod.
It is Paco's pod. Jake was back on the park playing some VFL footy. We need to know everything, Paul. How did he go?
He went very well. Yeah, no, he moved well. He got immediately involved. He hit the scoreboard. He brought other players into the game, and he looked, as you would imagine, a reasonable cut above the majority of the guys on the ground. So He played. I'm not sure sort of whether he was kilometres limited or whether it was about 3/4, I think, but he got through really well, was still running well at the end of that, and it was a big part in us sort of dismantling the Giants. So he was very good, and everyone who was watching was pretty happy, I think.
Paul, I'm going to pop you on the spot here, but our listeners and we want to know: is he going to be playing VFL next week? You think?
Well, I'm the wrong bloke to put on the spot.
Tell us the truth.
Look, he played 3/4, and as I said, got through very well. So I guess the only question is, do they want him to do full game minutes before he plays AFL or not? That'll be. I would think the only real question being asked, obviously, he's a very, very proven AFL player. So if he's ready to go, I think they'll be keen to get him in. But yeah, it's a matter of. I know they've taken a pretty cautious approach with guys, making sure that they're fit and really ready to impact when they get a crack at AFL level. So I guess that's the only question.
And another bloke, Paul, who seems to be another fan favourite across the board, who I guess on the other end of the scale hasn't actually registered a game at AFL level. Paddy Voss, big fella. He kicked a bag on the weekend. How's his first couple of games been, including the pre-season?
He's kicking a bag every weekend at the moment. He's in some form, that's for sure. He ended up with 5 again on the weekend. Plenty of sort of really strong contested work, and look pretty imposing. He's probably at times in the past given away a few too many frees or that sort of thing. He really hasn't done that the last few weeks. And I thought, played with really good sort of controlled aggression on the weekend and, was pretty dominant up forward. So I think he and Stringer enjoyed playing with each other and sort of waxed lyrical a few times. So
nice.
They worked well together. And look, he's an intriguing prospect. He really is. Like, if you're a young backman at VFL level, he's probably not the bloke you want to get the job on for the day because he's in pretty good nick, and B, he's pretty imposing. So, he's doing everything he can to put his name up in lights for an AFL spot. That's for sure.
So what do you think his key kind of point of difference is there, Paul? Because he's obviously got an interesting profile where he's, probably 6'4", maybe pushing 6'5". He's a monster of a kid, clearly really aggressive at the contest, good in the air and a good kick. But, he's not your kind of key position tall that you see in the AFL these days. So where would you kind of see him slotting in?
Yeah, it's always an interesting question because, a key forward at VFL level doesn't, as you say, necessarily translate to key forward size at AFL level. And there've been plenty of guys over the journey who've sort of found that out. He's probably, given his youth and inexperience, he really hasn't played that much footy. So if he was to come into the AFL side, you'll imagine it'd be in that kind of third tall role. Certainly they wouldn't be resting the forward line on his shoulders or anything, as you wouldn't with a kid who hasn't played a game of footy. But if he can get on the lead and get ahead of steam up, he takes a fair bit of stopping at any level. So, I think he's, as you say, he's a lovely kick of the footy the majority of the time, including for goal. And he's extremely sort of unselfish as well as a player with ball in hand. He looks for teammates and to bring him into the game. He works defensively, and he's got a really natural aggressive streak that everyone enjoys, including himself.
That's what we love to hear.
Yeah. So he's an exciting, really exciting kid. I said last week, I'm still not certain anyone really knows where he's going to end up even playing. He might end up pushing up the ground more or deep. If he keeps growing, he's going to be hard to play anywhere but the goal square because he's so damaging down there. But he's he's also sort of reading the ball really well at the moment as well, and he's sort of getting a few marks out the back of contests and that sort of thing as well at the moment. Like it's not all sort of lead up chest at the footy.
So he's in the one. He's in the ones this week, then, Paul.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Take it to the bank, boys.
Yeah.
As if I have any clue who you're talking to.
Heard it here, heard it here.
Exclusive scoop, Paul. Another guy who's has come back from the injury, just like Paco is, of course, Hobbsy. Judging by the stat sheet, looks like he had a fair bit of footy. How did you see his day, Paul?
He certainly had a fair bit of footy. He played really well. Look, I should have prefaced when we talk about this this game on the weekend. We were terrific. GWS were incredibly young. The schedule didn't do them any favours because their AFL were playing in Perth last night. So, and they were playing us in Melbourne in the AFL 6 hours earlier. So they took a big squad to Perth, I think, which meant that they had a sort of combined total of, I think, 8 or 9 AFL games over the entire team, and were very, very young. So, that's not to sort of
pump
him
up, Paul. Pump him up. I don't want any of this.
And I'm not talking about Hobbsy specifically here. I mean the entire game. Like they were a very, very young team. So all of that needs to be taken into account. Our guys were really, really good, but the opposition will play against stronger opposition. Let's put it that way. But having said all that, now Hobbsy was pretty dominant. Like his contested work at the coalface was fantastic. He used the ball. Look, he probably didn't use the ball that well last week in his first game back. I think we talked about that, where he was able to find it, but was a bit rusty with ball in hand. He managed to knock all that rust off by the weekend. His ball use was much, much better, and he was able to. He had mid-30s and hit the scoreboard, kicked a couple of goals, and did all the hard stuff as well. So there wasn't much he didn't do for the day. Hobbsy, he was along with some of the other guys who we've already talked about, but he was sensational. Had a really good, maybe the sort of best game I've seen him play in red and black, I would think. So he was terrific.
That's what we like to hear. Now, with the question mark over BZT and his fitness, just checking in on how Kane Baldwin played. I hear he played on number 1 draft pick Aaron Cadman and kept him just to 1 goal, 6 possessions, 4 marks. How did you see his game?
I reckon, just my own personal view, but I reckon he and Hobbsy were probably our 2 best players on the day. I thought he was, the very young GWS team I talked about didn't do Cadman too many favours with their ball use. But Balders was sensational. I don't remember him losing a 1-on-1 for the day. I could be wrong, but he was able to intercept mark at times. He was able to spoil at others. He used the ball extremely well. He was attacking with ball in hand when that was an option, and played really tight defensively at other times. So he was terrific. And look, as I said, I hadn't considered playing him back. I don't choose where he plays, but I hadn't considered him playing back coming into this season. But having seen what he was able to produce on the weekend, and I should say over the last few weeks as well, they might have really found one there. He's playing incredibly well and just looks really assured and confident back there. So another terrific game from him.
Love to hear that. And a last one, Paul. Mr. Nick Hine racking up 40-plus touches. I'm assuming that meant he was playing in the midfield. Surely didn't do that off half-back.
No, he was off half-back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was.
That's incredible. It's a great place to play when you win by 80 points.
Yeah.
And you don't have to play on anyone.
Yeah.
And he was able to get up the ground pretty well as well. But
right.
He had 40 on it. I think 90+% efficiency, fair to say, at a reasonable day. I think there was one. I was up in the coach's box in the last quarter. I think he had an ineffective possession, and the whole coaching group went up because they'd been told he was at 95% or something at the time. So, and I think it got a mention post game too. So, he had a ridiculously good day out. He found huge amounts of the footy and obviously used it brilliantly well. So you're going to struggle to find me to say a bad word about any of our players on the day. That's for sure, boys. We all there were 10, a dozen, 15. Really, everyone played well who played for us. So
who was our worst player, Paul?
Hardy was a big standout. I'd say that the president didn't have much of a day, boys. So I'll take the rap on that. I was actually on the timekeeper's duties for the day, believe it or not, and I did at one stage not blow the siren when the umpires looked up at me at halftime. So
one job.
So I probably made the worst mistake of the day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, Paul. I was a little bit cut when I looked at the VFL ladder and saw that we had a percentage of 305% and were second. Somehow Southport put on an even bigger percentage than we did.
How dare they?
How dare they?
That's absolutely not on. There'll be a sternly worded letter or something going on about that. We need you win by 80 in round one, you expect to be on top, don't you?
Exactly. Now Essendon VFL will be playing the Sandringham Zebras 2 p.m. Sunday at Sandringham. Obviously, no clash with the AFL game Saturday night. So if you live down in Sandy that way, or even you just want to watch a bit of extra football on the weekend. Perfect time, Paul.
I actually reckon, you can double check this, but I reckon it might be 12 o'clock at Sandy.
That's even better.
But everyone, as they say in the classics, check your local guides. It's, you know what, it's a great place to watch footy, and St Kilda are going pretty well, and we got the Saints the night before in the AFL as well. So, and it happens to be just about a local game for me.
Oh, it is 12 o'clock.
It's almost as close to a home game as I get there in Frankston, given I'm down on the peninsula. So, I love a Sunday arvo at Sandy. So I encourage, as you do, everyone to get along. It should be a really good day out there.
Beautiful. Paul, thank you as always. Very generous with your time, and we'll speak to you next week, hopefully, with some more positivity.
It's always a pleasure after an 80-point win, boys. If we lose, I might not come on. But every 80-point win, I'll be front and centre.
Love it.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, guys.
All right, boys. The great man, Paul. Good insight as always.
Genuine legend.
Genuine legend. Genuine legend.
Hey, Tobsy.
No, he doesn't.
Hates everyone.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Don't be silly. Do you guys want to play 20 questions, or do you want to go home?
I reckon we smack out a quick 20 questions.
Yeah, real quick.
You want to give it a go? All right. Cool. 20 questions.
Do we start?
Yes, of course you start. I don't tell you anything. I just sit here and tally the questions.
Are they a past player?
Yes, they're a past player.
Matt?
I don't know how to do this. What do I do?
You ask a yes or no question. You're trying to figure out who the player is.
Okay.
You have 20 questions to guess who it is. So you've started with a past player. So you've categorized basically from everyone from,
The last 10 years.
Do they play in the last 10 years? No, they did not play in the last 10 years.
Did they win a premiership with us?
No, they did not.
Did they play over 100 games for us?
Yes, they did.
Were they a defender?
No, they were not a defender.
So they didn't play a premiership.
No.
Which means they
played in the last 10 years.
Which means they probably played from
20 years.
Yeah.
Did they play between 2001 and 2011?
Yes, they did.
And had they played 100 or not 100?
They did play 100 games. Don't look at my screen, by the way. I've got their Wikipedia open.
Were they a forward?
No.
Okay, so it's a midfielder or a ruckman.
Did they play for another club?
Good question. No, they didn't. 12 to go.
Just want to rule out whether they were a ruckman or not. Is it a ruckman?
No.
Okay, so we're on for a midfielder.
There's lots of dead air in this segment, which is great. If I really wanted to, I'd go edit it out, but I just don't. I'm just going to leave it in. So what do you know? Talk back to me.
Did they play over 200 games?
No, they did not play over 200 games.
So 100 to 200, 2001 to 2000.
2012 would be 10 years because we're 2023. So that would be your window.
Yeah.
So what was the window?
I said 01 to 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well. Yeah.
Is there jumper number between 1 and 15?
Great question.
Great question. I'm just going to triple check the number. I'm pretty sure I know which number it is, but I'm just going to double check to make sure I'm correct. Between 1 and 15?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's big.
Why don't we just go through the numbers? Just
Yeah. So
Is it Ricky Dyson?
Correct.
Let's go.
What a pick. What a pick. With 12 questions. He actually started with with number 36, but then he became number 2.
Yeah.
What a goal on Anzac Day.
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's right behind that.
114 games, 43 goals, predominantly played as a midfielder. In 2008, his football career was interrupted by an
I don't know if he played as a
appendectomy.
midfielder.
He was a winger.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, he played mainly as a midfielder. Like, I'm sure he would have drifted, but like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him a defender or a forward, would you? He's a midfielder.
Yeah.
Like, he's not Nathan Lovett-Murray. He's not a utility, you know?
Well, he's a ruckman.
Or a ruckman.
Yeah.
Nat Rat was a ruckman.
That right was Mr. Fix.
Well, you guys, that's the best one we've done. I mean, Joel absolutely bombed on Thursday night, for those who heard that live death on air.
Ooh, I haven't.
Now I understand why he was so cut that I didn't go on.
Yeah.
Or was it just him reeling it
He
off?
just did it solo. He did it solo. I actually said to him, on Sunday, I was like, I was at the point where I almost just messaged him the answer just to like make it seem like it was better on air. But then I was like, nah, let's just listen to him die.
Who was it?
It was Nathan Lovett-Murray.
Oh,
wow, I would have got it in one.
And
Kingo would be so cut.
And he
listening
skirted around it because like he picked a few like Indigenous players from that era.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, is it? Oh, nah. And I was like waiting for him to like say it, and then he just kept going.
Yeah,
love Nat
Yeah.
Rat.
At least he didn't go down the syllable rabbit hole that Ollie
Yeah,
did
that was
the other
horrible.
day. That was weird.
Kerr was like, are there 2 syllables in their name?
Yeah.
Shut up, you nerd.
And then he's like, oh, he goes, it'd be weird to have 3 syllables in your name. Your name has 3 syllables in it. Oliver. Yeah.
He's special, that guy.
It's great podding people who aren't on the show. It's great. Boys, great pod.
Good pod.
Good pod.
Great to get a win.
Good
It's all
vibes.
right, yeah.
Good vibes. Good vibes are in the club at the moment. How are we feeling about Saturday, quickly, before we wrap up?
I like our chances. Jack Steele's a really integral part of the St Kilda midfield. He's gone. So I think we'll probably tear him up in the middle, but it'll be interesting to see how their defense works. I mean, they've kept both of their first and second round opponents to, I think, under 70, maybe around 60 points. And we've kicked over 100 in both. So should be interesting.
Definitely favours us at the G.
Oh, definitely.
That's such a good result.
I don't think they've played at the G since they lost to Granny. That's a joke, but
Derek?
don't fact check me.
No, can't remember? Yeah. Derek is a St Kilda fan.
They
for
hardly
the
play
listeners. Yeah, they don't. Someone was saying to me that apparently they wanted Collingwood for this game, and if Collingwood were like, nah, we're not interested in doing it. And then Dons were like, yeah, we'll do it. So, anyway.
Yeah, we'll belt you.
It'll be a good show, and hopefully it's a good result. Thursday, if you want to listen to Thursday's shows, sign up to be a premium subscriber. You can find the link in the show description. There, $5 a month or $40 for the year, and you get an extra show every single week during the season. YouTube, we're also on the YouTubes as well. So if you like watching your podcasts, you can watch Mert go bright red during hot takes, which is pretty good. I reckon that's pretty entertaining. Beanies, you can get a Go Plains Sash beanie, or you can get one of the scarves that
They're actually cooler.
Damo's got there. Looking pretty good.
Give it the little test.
There we go. Oh, yeah, that's the test. Yeah,
It planes.
Yeah, it definitely planes.
Bloody hot.
Yeah, we should
They're going to be good for winter.
maybe you know what we should do? Like, do you remember those like? I don't know, it was like you have like a little toy and you press the button and it makes a sound. Maybe I get like a little thing like stitched into the beanie and you press it and it goes.
Well, shit.
Yes, it says that.
Were you doing that?
Yeah, it does that. It just is a clip of that guy just doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do that. Listeners, thank you as always. Love you all. Go Bombers. Up the plains. Up the Dons. See you next time. Bye. Liquorland are proud partners of the Sash for another season of footy. Would you like the chance to win a share of 20 million Flybuys points?
Wait, hold on a second there, Rob. Are you talking about flybys?
I think he is talking about flybys.
To enter the draw, just spend $20 on liquor at your local Liquorland from March 1st until April 11th, 2023, in-store or online, and scan your Flybys.
Flybys. Flybys. Fly buys.
Yeah, I love it. Every $20 you spend will put you in the running to win one of 3,000 prizes. So get shopping and scanning today and land a share of 20 million Flybuys points with Liquorland. Liquorland, from the land you love. Please drink responsibly.